1976. Jimmy Carter is president, Rocky is the #1 movie at the box office, and a gallon of gas costs 59 cents. A woman in Concord, North Carolina, is raped during an attempted home robbery.
A white victim, very prestigious, influential pillar in the community.
Days later, police bring the victim to a nearby courthouse, hoping she can identify her attacker. They seat her in the courtroom, where 20-year-old Ronnie Long is facing a minor and unrelated trespassing charge.
I played baseball, basketball, and football. Typical teenager life.
But that life comes crashing down.
2 detectives, the same 2 detectives that I saw sitting in the courtroom, came to my house, told me they needed me to come downtown with them. My mother asked them, do we need a lawyer or something with him? Nah, you don't need nobody with him. Walked in the police department with the 2 detectives. They tell me I'm a suspect in a rape and burglary case. You know what happened after that.
Later, and protesters defending Ronnie's innocence take to the streets. At trial, prosecutors have zero physical evidence tying Ronnie to the crime.
You got a white judge, a white DA, 12 white tainted jurors. You tell me about the trial. What trial? I was convicted the day that they picked me up.
An all-white jury finds him guilty, sentencing him to 2 life sentences.
All I seen was a candy-coated version of a modernized lynching.
Legal team files petitions with the court attempting to prove his innocence, but with no success.
But get what? God had a better idea.
In 2005, Ronnie's team makes a jaw-dropping discovery. Piles of evidence that were never disclosed at his original trial. Hair samples, clothing fibers, and burned matches from the scene of the crime that aren't a match to Ronnie. The biggest shock? A rape kit that never made it to trial. Despite it all, a judge rules that the physical evidence did not outweigh the victim's testimony.
I knew I had been set up. I knew I had been framed. I knew my mother and my father's name had been tarnished. And I refused to quit.
In 2015, more unearthed evidence. 43 fingerprints taken from the original crime scene, and not a single one matches to Ronnie. Finally, the federal court believes Ronnie's innocence, and his conviction is vacated. In August of this year, after 44 years behind bars, Ronnie walks out of prison a free man.
44 years taken from you. It's hard for me to even wrap my head around that. I would be fueled by anger. Ronnie, you spent your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s behind bars, again, for a crime that you did not commit. Now, the woman who accused you, she went to her grave still saying it was you. How do you not hold resentment towards her?
My resentment is not towards her. It's towards those 4 corrupt Concord police detectives that lied, put me in front of this person, Mrs. Ball, because I feel as though, you understand, saying she was only doing what they asked her to do. But if you look at the legal documents, the judge asked Ms. Boss on the day that we went to court. The judge asked Ms. Boss, did the police ask you to pick Ronnie Long? And in the document she said they could have.
And the fact that we're still not out of the woods with this is bewildering to me. It's angering. But your next battle is getting the North Carolina governor to give you a pardon. Without it, you can't get compensation, which you absolutely deserve for your time. I won't call it time served, which was time stolen from you.
Yeah, robbery.
Robbery. You need to be paid back for the robbery that was committed upon you. Now, if that governor is listening to you, what would you say to him? This is your moment.
I can't even get food stamps. That I'm struggling, for real. I'm still struggling even after 44 years of struggle. My future right now It's from day to day.
We ask you, please, to help in Ronnie's fight. Visit his website, freeronnielongnow.org. There, you can donate to his GoFundMe page and sign his petition to the governor. All hands on deck. Reached out to the North Carolina governor for comment on Ronnie's pardon case. We have yet to hear back.
All right. Welcome to Grown Men Talking Incorporated. Thank you for tuning in. This topic is going to be very, very educational. We are talking about men that were wrongfully incarcerated for a crime they did not commit. Make sure you share. If you enjoyed this segment, please subscribe. Also, just to let y'all know, we are now available on the platform of Rumble. Make sure you tune in tomorrow as Miss Symbolic Soul comes to us and we interview her about her life past since the last time she appeared here 2 years ago. Broken Silence. And actually talk about her newly released CD that she will be telling you about tomorrow. So make sure you tune in. Over to Dwight.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? I'm Dwight. Welcome to Grown Man Talking. Excuse me, I'm a little bit tired. Had a long day at work, but we're gonna push on through it anyway. So let me start bringing in the cast members. So let's bring in our 2025 most powerful part of this year, Mr. Dez. Come on in and join us, bro.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? Happy Friday, y'all.
Friday. Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, man, getting ready for the weekend. So it's Friday, we here. And I think it's just me and you for now. Let me ask Spicy King D or Mr. Brick made it in so far.
They're gonna be a tad late, but they'll be
all
here.
right. So it's a dynamic duo. It's us, y'all.
Dun, 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 dun.
So we gonna get into this now. Rodney, I thought Rodney Long is a guy we were just watching on the video, and the thing, I'm being honest, it's quite a few. He's not the only one. He's one of many that we talking about right now, because it been a lot of brothers out there just like him that been convicted and found guilty for something they did not do. This man spent his 20s, his 30s, 40s, up into his 50s, all that time in prison for a crime he did not commit. He didn't do the crime, and I'm gonna keep it real. Back then, even now, it isn't. They just pick, especially it has something to do with a black man, and a white lady or something like that. When something happens and they can't find the person that did it, they just grab anybody. Oh, he black. Just grab him, throw him in jail, case closed. And a lot of brothers been going to jail for things they didn't do. Now, Dez, how you feel about that? I mean, how you feel, this man spent, most of basically his whole life, just about half his life in prison. How you feel about that?
Well, seeing this, this is kind of a touchy subject for me because, I have done work within the penitentiary system before, and this man spent 44 years behind bars, incarcerated in a system which I call modern day slavery. 44 years. I'm 48. I'm 48 years old. So that means if the shoe was I was 4 years old. Yeah. 4 years old when this man went into prison for something that he did not do. But they, like you were saying, this has become a kind of like a thing. This is what they do because of the simple fact that this current modern day penitentiary system is nothing but modern day slavery, and they don't care who they get as long as they got somebody to fill that slot. They need that $30,000 to $40,000 every year that they get off of them, and it's sad that it seems to be that we're the ones that getting affected by it most, because like y'all said, this is just one case that we're talking about. He is not the only one. There are still men, there are still women in prison right now fighting to get out because they were convicted of a crime that they did not commit. And it's heartbreaking, and at the same time that says a lot about our judicial system. This judicial system is not designed for us. It's designed to be against us. It's another way for them to, quote unquote, have a shackle over us or have some type of control over us. And it's not only hurt him, like, you know, like you got to think he had family members, his mother, like he said, his mother's name, his father's name, their name was salted. This seemed to be a gentleman who may have been on the right track to do something great with his life. He said he was into sports, baseball, football. Who knows? If he wouldn't have got into this predicament, we could be talking about him as an NFL legend or a Major League Baseball legend. You know, so it's another way. To me, it seems like this is a way for them to strip us of our identities and our greatness. And that is exactly what they're doing. That's what they're using this for. They're using this as a way to put that stigma upon us, as if to say, you black men, you ain't no good. You black women, you ain't no good. Y'all are evil, and y'all ain't nothing but criminals. And when actuality, they commit more crimes than us. The only difference is their crimes don't get publicized on the news.
Exactly, that part.
And let's welcome in our assistant co-host, Mr. B.
Hey,
Welcome in, Mr. B.
How you doing?
What's up, y'all? What's up? How y'all feel?
All right, I'm so glad that you were able to make it. You know, we having a discussion about, you know, people being accused of a crime, especially people as black men, black women too, you know, doing time for something you ain't did. You know, that you was innocent, but yet the court finds you guilty, and you spend just about all your life in jail, in prison. And as my brother Dad says, it's just like, you know, it's like a slavery. You know, they get you in there, they fill those beds, and I was gonna say, Mr. Britton, how would you feel if I don't know if you saw the video, but how would you feel if you yourself personally was, you know, somebody's got raped or beat and they just point you out, and not only do they point you out, they found you guilty, and you spend nearly 40 years or more of your life in prison for a crime that you know that you didn't commit. How would you feel about that?
Well, you know, I venture to say that, you know, first of all, how I would feel about it, I'd be irate. I would just be, I can't even find a word that would fit, you know, the degree of my anger and resentment and bitterness. It would just be catastrophic. You know what I'm saying? Because it would take away, I would lose all humanity, and it would allow me to become animalistic, and all because my efforts are going to be for survival at that point, and that survival is going to look like any means necessary. So to falsely accuse me and, you know, to arrest me and that type of thing and jail me, put me in a cage. Well, I'm act just like animals do when they get put in a cage. You know, they don't want to be there. It's against their nature. And let me say this, you know, the penitentiary system, you know, they already know that it's against our nature. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't designed to house white men. I think Dez alluded to much of the same that I'm gonna say. You know what I mean? It's a business. You know what I'm saying? Willie Lynch devised a method to keep a black man a slave. You know what I'm saying? And what happens many times is that we find ourselves with these small petty crimes, and you end up in the you know, in the system, and you go into court, but you have no money, you have no economic stability. So, you know, you get in there, and the first thing you do is you look at an indictment that has maybe 4 or 5 other charges that you didn't commit, or you don't think you commit. So what is called an enhanced indictment. And who was it? It was an attorney. His name escapes him right now. He was going to defend OJ at one time, but he didn't. But at any rate, it'll come to me. They asked him, you know, if you could practice law anywhere in the United States, where would you want to practice it at? And he said Cincinnati, Ohio. So when they asked him why, he went on to tell them because they practice enhanced misdemeanors, meaning that you would do one charge that you can get probation on or or maybe a smack on the wrist so you won't interrupt your life, and they enhance it and give you these multiple charges so you cop out. They don't find you guilty, you cop out.
Right. Right.
We don't get found guilty because we don't have the economic stability to take us that far through the system to defend ourselves. It's stacked against you. So now you in there taking a plea deal on your life because it sounds better if you go and you get 18 months as opposed to 10 years I got for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what they do to us. And next thing you know, you're in that perpetual motion and finding yourself actually being hunted by the system.
Yeah.
Because every time you go into a court of law, they're gonna pull up those incidents and they're gonna convict you. You go into the penitentiary. It's $40,000 a year in Ohio. It's $40,000 a year per person. The best business in the world is repeat business. They work on the business model. And who's the best commodity I got? Them slaves. Which is the more predominant slaves that I have? Them black ones. We just got a couple of these other white folks and other folks just sprinkled in. But you guaranteed to find 9 out of 10 black men going to prison.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, because here in Missouri, it's 40 to 50,000 a year per inmate. And you brought up a very interesting point about Cincinnati and how they enhance the charges, because like with Mr. Rodney Henson right now, if he only unalived or if he only killed one police officer, why is he getting charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder?
You know what? That's you're right. I couldn't figure that out either. I said, why they doing that? Well, we know why.
Because they saying we're gonna get you one way or the other.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you on one of these. You know what I'm saying? When you go to court, now his attorney, I'm from Cincinnati. I know the Hinton family and I know their attorney. You know what I'm saying? In fact, he was a friend of mine and my attorney at one time. And he's a bad man. But he himself has been a victim of the system. He went to prison. You know what I'm saying? So, and here he is back again. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the most talented and brilliant attorneys in Cincinnati, Ohio, that probably in the country. Bad man. And they don't want to see him win these cases. So they put him in a position where his clients eventually, if he can't outright beat it, his clients are are left with, well, I'm gonna take this 2 years. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's bad, man. It's bad. It's a bad time for Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? Whether we know it or not. You know what we did was we thought it's okay to keep on making us slaves. You know, this system makes you a slave. You know what I mean? It takes away a slave. The definition of slave is the lack of capacity. Yeah. If you're in prison, you have no capacity. You're a slave.
And you're right, Mr. Brittany, because the system was built not for us. You know, we know. We know it's against us, and just to add mine, and I'm with you. If I don't know what I would do. I would lose my mind too, because if I got convicted of a crime, well, on that note, look, y'all, this is about to go on. This is gonna get good, so don't y'all go nowhere. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Don't go nowhere. Yes.
Not guilty of...
A young father was accused of S.A. and K.I.L.L., his 8-month-old daughter, and was imprisoned. Now, all charges against him have been dropped by the judge. On April 23rd, 22-year-old James Saltmarshall panicked and dialed the emergency number, claiming to have woken up to find his 8-month-old daughter, Janiyah. Saltmarshall stopped breathing beside him. When the police arrived at the scene, they urgently took Janiyah to the hospital. The forensic examination revealed that Janiyah lost her life due to suffocation. The police subsequently arrested James, who was charged with involvement in Janiah's deceased. Since James was imprisoned, this case will forever tarnish his image. In court, James insisted on his innocence, but the judge rejected the motion. James was charged with 3 serious crimes and imprisoned in Detroit prison with a bail of $2 million. During his imprisonment, James repeatedly requested a retrial of his case, but was refused by the judge. On Thursday, the court approved James's motion and declared him wrongfully imprisoned, and all charges against James were withdrawn, but the harm he suffered can never be erased. Do you think James should be compensated?
All right. We want to give all appreciation over and thank all the platforms that are tuning in right now over there at Rumble, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and both pages of Facebook. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Set your notifications because we have a special guest, Symbolic Soul. She'll be coming in, breaking her silence, and introducing her new release CD, which actually is released tomorrow. So make sure you tune in live as we interview her right here.
Well, all right. Man, shoot. That video right there, I couldn't, man. The young man, 22 years old. He's a father, love his daughter. She ended up dying. And the police just, okay, he did it. We're going to throw him in jail. I believe if it was reversed, it was a different color, it wouldn't even went that far. He wouldn't even went to jail if he was a different color. But that, as you said, Mr. Britton, there just because they black, throw them in jail. We got to get those beds filled. And just to see the pain on that young man's face, not only in jail, because you can imagine you in jail for something that you didn't do. You didn't kill your daughter. You love your child. So you're in there in jail for the murder of your own child that you didn't do. I mean, it just can't get no worse than that. And not only that, thank God he was able to get out, but once you have that record, just like Mr. Long said, he couldn't even get food stamps. He having a hard time. He can't even make it. I mean, it's hard. And this is the reality that we deal with, especially black men. And it just and I'm not gonna lie, if I was in jail for something I didn't do, I think I would be so full of hate that I think everybody has to pray for me because I've had that in my heart and I'm not that type of person. But imagine you spend your time in jail for so many years and then you have to look and forgive those people that did it. Now Mr. Long in the first video said that lady, she passed and the police coerced her into just say it was him because it's him. And she did it anyway. I believe that she know that man didn't do it, but she went on with it anyway and said, okay, yeah, he did it. That's somebody's life she's playing with. But as Brother Dad said, they got to fill those beds, which they had to get those slaves in there to do that work and everything. And this is the reality we live in today and been living in. So I'm going to go with you, Des. How you feel about that young man we just saw? And thank God he was able to get out and he didn't spend that much time. But what you want to say about that young man that was accused of killing his own baby and spending that time in jail? Thank God another judge was able to set him free and he had to spend no more time than he had to in there.
Well, in that scenario, I'm happy that the brother was, exonerated of the crimes, and
Right.
they asked the question in the video, should he be compensated? I really do believe that he should be compensated for that as well. But not only should he be compensated for it, the detectives or the individuals that were responsible for him being wrongfully incarcerated should have to face some type of disciplinary action. Because
Right.
what they did was they put a double burden on that man.
Yeah.
First of all, they accused him of killing or unaliving his own child, his own flesh and blood. And then on top of that, They put him inside of a system, put him in because who knows if he has to, if does he have to register now, but of things of that nature. And then the other thought that I was having, it kind of eludes me, is so and on top of all of that, him going to prison for that, he has to still deal with the loss of his child. And having to deal, not only having to fight the judicial system for being wrongfully accused of unaliving his child, to have to deal with the mourning of not having his child. And that if that was 8 months old, that baby had not even began to even attempt to live her life yet. Who knows what she could have been when she got older. So they stripped him of so much. And I think that it's time that, if this is supposed to be a judicial system and it's supposed to be fair, even though you see Lady Justice with the scales unbalanced, which that should tell you a whole lot about our judicial system. The people who are responsible for these wrongful incarcerations need to be held accountable in some way, fashion, or form. If these officers are not handling their business correctly to get these matters solved correctly, you might need to take their badges.
Yeah.
You might need to get rid of them, but they're not doing nothing but just reinforcing what the system was designed for us to do, because police didn't even come about and I hate to keep alluding back to slavery, but police was started because they needed somebody to catch the runaway slaves. So it's still the same thing. It's still the exact same thing. It's just done in a more modern way. So I believe that young man, I'm glad that he got off. Well, I'm glad that the truth finally did get revealed. And at the same time, I do believe those officers and anybody who has something to do with him being wrongfully incarcerated should have to face some type of disciplinary action on top of that.
Yeah, I agree. And before I get to Mr. Britton, just on touch on that, when you say he should be compensated, the other guy, Mr. Rodney Long, still haven't been given no money, and that's another issue. These brothers that are falsely accused, where the money at, y'all? They gotta wait another few years, or some of them don't even get money at all, and if even they do get money, it ain't even much half the time. So this is crazy. Mr. Britton, the video we just saw, what did you got to say about the young man that was found guilty, thrown in jail? His daughter's gone. He's in jail for something he didn't do. He's in there. And I can only imagine, just the pain on this young man's face, being accused of killing his own baby. They just throw his behind in there, don't care. Like Dad said, it's the police. But we know this system, like Dad said, that the police was made and formed to catch slaves, and they still doing that today. They're putting people in jail just for no reason. And y'all, if you ain't keeping up the news, it's still going on today. It's gonna get a whole lot worse. Right now, they're giving police full immunity. That means they can shoot you, kill you, get away with it, throw your behind in jail. You ain't committed a crime. They don't care. If they don't like you, they're going to put you in there, and you just in there. You just in there. So, I don't know. This is just something that's real serious, and we got to just be careful. We got to talk about this maybe more. But Mr. Britton, what do you say about that video, that young man that we saw and the things that he went through? What do you say about that?
Well, first of all, dealing with the money aspect, do I think he should be compensated? They still should be writing zeros behind a decent figure. They still need to be writing zero, because you can never give him enough money for the damage that was caused. Number one, let's look at it. As far as the individual himself, here's this kid that's psychologically tortured. The loss of his baby. Here I got the the police in here. You know what I'm saying? They arrest me. They're not listening to me. Now I realize, I'm nothing but an N-word to him. You know what I'm saying? Then he gets to court, and we see that he's in front of a judge who happens to be a Black woman. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you know, obviously that was the one that convicted him. And I think that's the way they showed it, you know, and if that's so, then she was the one that convicted him. Do we think that she should have convicted him? No, because the evidence wasn't there. It's obvious the evidence wasn't there. But
Right.
we live at a time uh, where our kids are being mistreated in many homes. And I got to call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying? Some of our children are having babies. They babies having babies. And some
Right.
of them just don't know what to do. And they panic and they do stuff and they panic and the kid ends up unalive. And
Yeah.
is it with malice intent? Many times not. You know, but you do have those times that are. So I say that to say that how do you approach a case like that if you are law enforcement? You know, the first thing you
Right.
do, you have to gather that information, and what you see in front of you is like what you have to work with. So he may have said something or did something that gave them grounds to say, well, okay, we're gonna take him in and book him on this. Now,
Right.
now he gets booked. You know what I'm saying? Now begins the real work. Now you need a forensic specialist on hand. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
got a case that, you know, that deals with some psychological issues. There's a murder. You know, who's doing the forensic assessment? You know what I'm saying? Let's get this stuff in there so the courts, the judge had the evidence to either convict or not convict. But they didn't do that because we are so conditioned. Even that sister who was the judge, she is so
Mm-hmm.
conditioned to follow the letter of the white law as opposed to the common sense law. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I might step on some toes. But
No,
at
no,
any rate,
Keep stomping.
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
keep
At any
on.
rate, you know what I'm saying? They become conditioned. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's no more, it's blinders now. It's like, here, I got this case of this kid that's 22 years old, he's black, he don't know nothing, because that's what they're
Mm-hmm.
saying. 22 years old black don't know nothing. And the baby dead, you know what I'm saying? I'm a mother, I empathize with this. And here it is, my officers brung him, arrested him, so he had to do something. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
then you get up in there, and now you got this kid who's being tormented every second and every day of his young life. He lost a child. You know what I'm saying? His mental right now has to be like woo everywhere. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because now you don't cause my kid to have trust issues. You know what I'm saying? You don't cause it. You don't know how that's gonna make him react with the child's mother. Now we got problems within the relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things because people are going. The damage is done. The damage
See,
is
and then
done. The mere fact that they said he did it, the damage is done.
yeah, and another way
Mm-hmm.
I think another way that he could be affected also is this going to make him want to. I mean, not only just because of the fact that his child was unalive, you know, how is this going to affect him when it comes to wanting to reproduce again? Is this going to make him be like, oh no, I don't want kids no more?
No,
You know,
no, no.
there's a point in the mentality that goes to that, because not only the wrongful incarceration behind the death of the child, but just the death of the child itself. But then when you
Yeah.
put the wrongful incarceration on top of that, that would kind of make, I mean, just me
Yeah.
myself personally, that would make me kind of think twice about having kids again. And
Yeah.
I don't think that they take into consideration these things. And then with the judge, if that was the judge that convicted him on the video, that's just another example of just because they black, that don't make them your family.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that look like you ain't like you.
Like
But they
you,
say all
they're
And
not
skin
like us.
folks ain't family.
They ain't
Yeah,
like us.
that
But
part.
dig
Yeah.
this. But to piggyback on that real quick, because I like that, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that even before he gets to that consideration of, whether I should have more children or not, dig what this brother getting ready to go
Mm-hmm.
through. You in prison. You get off the bus. Hold on. Let me be honest on this, because I can't give it to y'all no other kind of way than 100. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some
Go
viewers
ahead,
out
Mr.
there
Britton.
that wanna hear the gut level stuff. And if I'm wrong, okay, then ban me. But dig this. I done got off that bus. And I done been naked, shackled up next to guys that have had similar cases. And the first word they hear is not welcome. They hear, get your baby raping ass up against that wall. Get your baby killing self up against that wall. Spread them. You know, the dehumanization that takes place from the time they put them bracelets on you, boy, is traumatic as heck. You know what I'm saying? Now you got police dogging you, calling you baby, this and that. You got inmates. The worst thing you can do in prison is be a molester, you know what I'm saying, or a baby killer. You know what I'm saying? You better not. To have it even implied means now you got to keep your head on the swivel, because making a baby ain't even a thought. Am I gonna live to be able to consider that? Because every day you run.
I just want to say they treat us so much different. You know, black men are in prison at a higher rates, 5 to 6 times higher than a white man. And they stay in jail 19 to 26% longer than white men. And Mr. Britton, you touch on something now. You know, like I said, the law is different between us when it comes to them. Now, have I been in jail? Yeah, I ain't did no crazy crime, but I'm gonna tell you what, you would think I did. I remember they had one for my arrest. I was going downtown to pay a damn. This is for a ticket, y'all, a ticket. These people, when they arrested me, they had me shackled from my ankles to my ankles, my wrists, and around my waist. It's like they had me like I killed somebody. They literally had me shackled from the waist to the ankles to my hand, dragging me across the street. Okay. I'm like, I can't believe they got me like this. And this for a ticket. Now, it had some white men in the courtroom. Then they had them shackled. I'm sitting there, okay, I'm shackled, but they're not shackled.
Because they trying to break you down. They trying to break you down mentally. They starting with your mind.
Yes. And I'm sitting there and I'm not gonna lie, I was heated because I'm like, these people act like I killed somebody. But those guys, they're not in change. The police brought them in. They're like, they stopped at McDonald's and got a burger, shaking and laughing it up over there. And I'm like, are you serious? And y'all got me sitting here like I killed somebody. You know what I'm saying? And you just sit there, like you said, it's a mental thing, and it's not like the first time that happened to me. It happened like I'd say maybe twice in my lifetime, and it just let me know they do treat you different. When you go in jail, when it don't matter how dark, how light skinned you are, you're just black. They will treat you so much different compared to the other races, and I have seen it. I seen it for myself. I mean, I ain't spent years and years. I think the longest time was in jail for maybe close to a week or two, and you can just see it. You hear the people talking about it. You hear the people talking about this going to the prison that really did some time, and you hear the older men telling the younger guys, especially the black guys, that if you get out here, don't come back in here because this place is not made for us. They built it for us, but don't do things that have you here for the rest of your life. And you just have to teach your kids to be just be different and say. I mean, it's such a touchy. This thing is just so touchy because I have sons. I know y'all have sons, and I just can't sit here and imagine one of my sons, one of my kids get in jail or get in prison for something they didn't do. I mean, I would just lose my mind. On that note, we're gonna continue this discussion. It's kind of touchy, it's deep. So we're not gonna go nowhere. Y'all don't go nowhere. And look, we have a number down there. If y'all want to join us, if y'all have an experience, anything like this, y'all want to add to it, give us a call. Okay? We'll be back in 2 and 2. Don't y'all go nowhere.
So now I'm 17, and instead of facing minor camp time or juvenile hall time, I was now facing 41 years to life in prison. They tacked on a kidnapping charge, which carries life in the state of California. And what was happening behind the scenes, what I would later find out, which the accuser admitted to on video, was that every time she would hear my side of the story, she would add more to her story because she didn't want to look like a liar, because it was getting so deep on her end that she had to keep pushing the story. So while I was sitting in jail, I was in jail for 1 count of rape. Next thing you know, it was 2 counts of rape. Next thing you know, it was 3 counts of rape. Next thing you know, it was 3 counts of rape and sodomy. Next thing you know, it was 3 counts of rape, sodomy and kidnapping. Now I'm facing 41 years to life. These charges just continue to stack up. And I had no clue. My mom had no clue. We didn't know how this was happening until years later, finding out how that all went down.
All right. If you're enjoying this topic here, please make sure you subscribe. We really, truly appreciate y'all tuning in and sharing the live. Also, make sure you tune in tomorrow as our special guest, Symbolic Soul, is going to be in the building. Yes. She will be sharing her story and her path and coming to Broken Silence, along with introducing her new release, a CD, which will be released tomorrow and right here live with the Unspoken Heart Discussion Hour.
Yeah, y'all be sure to watch that tomorrow. It's gonna be good. I'm keeping it real with y'all, man. I'm not gonna lie. If I was in that position, in that predicament, I don't know what I would do if I got out. I might hear on the 5 o'clock news. I might lose it. If somebody put me behind bars for a crime I didn't commit, especially if I did 10, 20 years or more and everything, I might just say, okay, well, if I get out, that's it. Everybody that picked me here, I'm going for revenge. I know I'm wrong for it, but I mean, your mind just might snap. Can you imagine being thrown behind bars like an animal, and then you got to not only they get to survive on a daily basis with everybody else in there and all the things that you go through. I mean, can you blame anybody from having that much anger and that hate for the system and for the people that put you in there? I mean, Mr. Britton, just that video we just saw with that young man and the things he's going through, he was just sitting there, they just counting up the charges that was going against him for something he didn't do. I mean, what do you say about that? I mean,
well, it goes to what I said earlier. It actually validated everything I said. You know, when in terms of the enhancement of charges, of indictments, he sat there and articulated exactly what happened. He said he sat there and it started out with 1 charge. Next thing you know, it's 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, now he has all these charges. You know what I'm saying? So the deck is stacked against him. You know what I mean? And you know, for someone to be facing, to look at 17 years old, you're looking at 41 years of your life, you know, that you're gonna have to be incarcerated. That's, you know, I mean, the trauma. You know, we talk about trauma, and most of the time you say trauma, you know, a lot of times we think it's physical, you know, physical contact, you know what I'm saying? But it's so much more than that. If the worst thing in trauma can happen is that somebody get a whooping, then cool. But the mental devastation is horrific, man. You know what I'm saying? That guy there, and for him to sound, he's blessed to be able to articulate as well as he does. You can tell he did some work on himself. I don't know if he actually ended up in jail doing a significant amount of time, but shoot, in a situation like that, an hour is significant. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the dramatization, you know, he's been traumatized from the word go, from the time the handcuffs hit him. You know what I mean? And he, you know, being black, and he's a dark shade. And the thing about it is, you know, I've learned, you know, through my experiences that, you know, the different complexions of black that we are, you know what I'm saying? It does matter. You know what I'm saying? It does matter. Somebody as dark as myself or him, you know what I'm saying? We're an immediate threat. The taller you are, you're a threat. The stockier you are, you're a threat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you be treated with so much hate and hostility, man, that it reshapes your whole mind and thinking, and your everything. You just strip, man. You know what I'm saying? You be devoid of anything human. You have to, you have to buy into it because you got to defend yourself. But yeah, it's a lot of damage there, man. We can go on and on, man, about that devastation. But you see it,
Yeah, because I'll even say, the little time that I did spend, when I was going through my situation wasn't that long, but those few moments, just those moments where you have to, like Mr. Britton said, keep your head on a swivel because, you don't know where it's going to come from. You got people, what you in here for, they say, don't tell nobody what you're in here for. I understand why you don't do that now, because you have certain people's mentalities. When you tell them what you in there for, regardless if you innocent or not, they're going to automatically accuse you and put you in a category. And that goes back to the mental. That will always linger in your brain, because even that little time that I did spend, there are certain things that I'm always aware of and conscious of when I'm in a group of people. It affects it. It kind of made me more of a reclusive type of person, so I really didn't want to be in front of nobody, which I find ironic because I love being on stage, but I don't want to be next to nobody. I have no problem with being alone. Don't have to be around people, but when I do come around people, I still have these little things, these little quirks in my head that I'm looking for and I'm paying attention to. And these are things that these people have been put in a position to have to kind of get a grip on for something that they didn't do.
Right.
So.
And you know what, brother? I'm gonna tell you this with that. Now, like I said, the time I was in there for those tickets. Now, San Antonio jail, that's where you go and they keep you there before they send you to prison. And with the time I was in there, when I went in for the tickets, they put me on what was that? I think level 6. Because they have different levels. They put you in. They put some that has the people that murder, people that do sexual crime. I mean, they had certain levels. Now they put me. Now I was in a certain level. I shared a bunk with some guys. It was me, this other young black guy, a Hispanic guy, and it was a white dude. So we was in this pod, and we was just in there, in there, and people was talking about what they was in jail for, and what you in here for? What you in here for? And different people would give their stories, different ones wouldn't give their stories. So while we go to the mess hall to get ready, we out there about to sitting there waiting for the food. We sitting there watching the news. Right now, the couple of days I was there, I was sleeping on the top bunk. It was a white dude that's sleeping on the bottom bunk, but he was just a nerdy kind of, white dude and everything. Now we sitting there watching the news, right? The news come on, it shows in San Antonio about the white guy that went around killing folks. Guess who he was? He was the guy that was sleeping right under my bunk. Right under my bunk. And I'm sitting there, are you serious? This dude was it was in San Antonio. I can't remember exactly what year, but this dude was like going around doing stuff, killing people. And I said, they stick me in here with, and the other guys was in the jail. I said, well, wait a minute, why he supposed to be in level 6? What he's doing here with the black and Hispanic? This dude, he was just goofy and this, and one of the guards was saying, he was not only that, but he didn't too much care for people of color. So I'm looking like, well, did they stick him in here to choke us out or do something to us? But
I'd say they put him in that cell thinking y'all would do something to him because of what he did and what his outtake on y'all skin color was. Once again, trying to set y'all up for a deeper stint within the in the penitentiary system.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, they had to get him out of there because after we saw that news, the essays and the brothers about to go skin him alive. They had to get him out of there. But it was I mean, wow. It just blew my mind that they put this man, and he was very dangerous. I mean, they played looking at it like we was the most dangerous or we was the most, but they stuck this man in here, and this man, you would never think he was that type of person, but he was a very dangerous person. And I can't believe they stuck this dude in the par with us. You know, we in there just talking. Some guys said they were saying there was one guy, he was a young black dude on the east side of San Antonio. He said the police and them set him up. And he was about to do I think they said they gave him like 40 years. They said that they put him over there on the east side of San Antonio and they threw cocaine and other stuff in his car. And he was asking us to pray for him because this young man, I think he was like maybe 18, 19, was looking at some serious time. And he said, I'm telling you, I'm innocent. They set me up. I believe the young man. I truly believe him. Because it had been known that cops had, I'm saying all cops, don't get it twisted, but I have seen cops set young black men up, throw them cocaine drugs in the back of their car just to get them arrested to send them off to jail. And I have seen that too. It's not only because of a rape or murder. I have seen it on the news and things. I had other people. I wish I would have able to had time to, since we was talking about this, to look that up. But it has been some cases that the police officer will set you up, pull you over for a traffic stop just for the hell of it, and they would set you up to send you to prison.
Absolutely.
Like you said, they feel those things.
So
no, most definitely. I call it filling the quota.
Yeah, go ahead. So
no, I'm just saying I call it filling that quota.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. But on that point, we got to remember, man, that it's we able to identify the problem. You know what I'm saying? We keep that's easy. We identifying the fact that it's a miscarriage of justice. It's some racism involved, it's this, that, and the third. We see all of that. So I think for us, particularly for us on this platform that's had some personal experience and also the message that I think that, our platform wants to deliver is, how do we get out from under that? How do we remedy that?
Yes, what's the solution?
Because we can always say the problem is dude whoop me. Okay, now how you stop from getting that whooping? You know what I'm saying? So we got to talk about amongst us in our households, not just here, but in our households and with our young brothers and sisters, how to resolve that problem, and it starts with education. You know what I'm saying? We got to educate our young minds. You know what I'm saying? And not only do when we educate them, now we got to give them a sense of, of like acceptance, because it goes back to even, let's look at the election. The election was a perfect example of our miseducation. You know what I'm saying? We missed a golden opportunity. What we see now and what we're experiencing, you know what I'm saying, in terms of outpour cries, from racist groups, from hate groups. They come in my city. The Klan come in my city in Cincinnati. They run them up out of there. It was just down here in Georgia and over here in Decatur. You know what I'm saying? They get ran up out of there. What's happening is somebody rewired their education and told them they ain't a problem, and if they become a problem, I'm gonna get them out the way for you anyway. So you go do what you want to do to them, and I got you. And that person's sitting in the White House. But we allowed that to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't see the forest for the trees. You know what I'm saying? What we see is, shoot, she put some guys. She was part of that bill, the 3 strikes you out. Well, if you ain't selling dope, then you ain't got to worry about that. If you ain't hustling, you ain't got to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? But if you breaking laws, you know what I'm saying, then that's what she was able to do. But here's a person that was going to give us the ability to, number one, stop eroding our our culture and our history, taking books out of schools, you know what I'm saying, limiting the access to educational tools, man. You know what I'm saying? So that we can be a better people, showing us the big picture is that it was an opportunity for us to show them that we united as one. You know what I'm saying? Every other ethnic group, you know what I'm saying, whether they're Chinese, whether they're Pakistani, I don't care who it is. You know what I'm saying? They got stores, they help each other, they build. And when you're doing that and you keeping that strength within your culture, you know what I'm saying, and you strengthening your young, they ain't got time to be over there at Joe Blow and being accused of a crime they didn't commit. They don't become a part of that environment. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's the thing. When you put it like that, see what they've done is they systematically done that since the beginning. They've pitted us against each other.
Right.
And now we're so deep into it that it's going to be as long as it took for the problem to occur, it's going to take for the problem to cure.
Yeah.
So when it does come to a time where we as a people, not just individuals, start standing up together against the system and actually demonstrate and prove that we have the power that we have, we're still going to be stuck in this same predicament. And like you were stating, it started with the educational system. When they realized, because right now, what they've done is they've taken out any type of trade. Now, I'm not trying to show my age, but I know I'm 48. I know these kids don't know nothing about taking home ec. They don't know nothing about having to go to wood shop, having to go to mechanic shop, or having any type of trade schools. They've taken these particular things out of the system of education because of the simple fact that we were flourishing in them. And it's evident because most of the inventions that we live and die by today were invented by us.
Yeah.
So they know the power within us, but they have done such a good job of blinding us to our power that we have fooled ourselves. And we have started living the American dream, which is a nightmare for us. But even though we still see it, we don't want to be that one to be like, oh, no, I can't go against the system. You know, every time we try to do that, you know, this going to happen here and this going to happen there. But I mean, how much more as a people do we have to take since we're talking about solutions?
Yeah. And that's right there. What is the solution, though? I mean, we can be as educated as we want to be, but what is that? I mean, now that they got to the point where they're going to have immunity to do what they want to do, they can frisk and stop you anytime they want to do it. They can set you up if they want to. I mean, how can somebody as a young, especially for the younger crowd, that you're a smart young man, you get pulled over just walking by your business, you get pulled over, next thing you know, they putting cuffs on you saying you've been arrested for what? For having these drugs on you. I mean, what can you do? You know,
I mean, if we walk in this, what can you do? Okay, I hear music.
Well, we're gonna get back on that. Let's that's the next question. When we come back in 2 and 2, don't y'all go nowhere. We get right back.
If someone falsely accuses you of a crime, can you sue them? Yes, you can sue someone if they falsely accuse you of a crime. If the false accusation was spoken, it's called slander. If it was written, it's called libel. To win, you need to prove that the accusation was false, made with bad intent or reckless, and caused you harm, like damaging your reputation or causing emotional distress. In limited circumstances, you may even be able to sue the government for malicious prosecution if the government started a criminal case against you without good reason or evidence, and if the case was decided in your favor. What you need to do is identify evidence that supports your claim. If you've been falsely accused of a crime, avoiding criminal prosecution does not have to be the end. You have rights and the opportunity to seek recourse for the harm that you suffered. It's important you speak with an experienced attorney that can answer your questions and lay out for you whether you have a chance to win a case for defamation.
All right. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow as we have a special guest, Symbolic Soul. She was Spoken Heart Discussion Hours, not powerful poet, inspirational poet of the of the year. So make sure y'all come in and listen to her, support her, show her some love. She will be discussing her path, abuse, her prior CDs, her books, and also her new league CD that's being released actually tomorrow on the show. So make sure y'all tune in.
Yeah, y'all be sure to tune in for that. See, there's that was just where that video we just saw is where we getting around to. You know, I'm gonna let you go with that. But yeah, I guess you better have a good lawyer. But what you were saying before the commercial, the kind of where we going there. How would somebody do something like? I mean, how would they? You know, they doing everything to stay out of trouble. They going to school, and then, you know, I'm not trying to pit all cops, but you do have a number of cops, especially when it comes to black men, and plant some on them and they spending time in jail for something they didn't do.
Yeah, I mean, well, like he said, like we was talking about the education, as far as we have to start questioning these things because, like we were saying, they've taken certain things out of the educational process. Now, I don't like, and I teach classes. I will put a thesaurus in front of a student. And they will look at me like I just trying to teach them Chinese math. What's this? And I have to explain to them, well, this word and this word could also be defined or used like this word. Simple things. The things that they were, quote unquote, trying to teach us that helped us gain that little bit of knowledge that we had, they have started taking it away. And I noticed it back in 1994. 1994. Matter of fact, it was actually 90 through 94 when I was in high school. They introduced us to outcome-based education. What is that? Well, you have to do this in order to get this grade. You have to do this in order to get this grade. They weren't teaching us anything. They were basically teaching us how to test. And I have talked to some of my teachers back then, and that was what they were pushing. They were just teaching us to test, how to pass this test, because we had to be able to pass the MAP test. We had to be able to do good on an Iowa test of basic skills. They weren't really giving us anything that we could actually apply, because they can teach us all this stuff, but how does that apply to my daily life? And that's how they're getting this new generation, these new generations after that. Because at the age we are now, as simple as math was back then, I'm pretty sure if one of our grandkids came to us and be like, "Can you help me with my homework?" we would be looking at them like they were showing us Chinese arithmetic.
That part, yeah. And Des, you so right, because look, you 48, I'm just 10 years older than you, and you know, and I have three children. Well, you know, my son's 31, and then the twins are 24 now. But when they was in high school, especially the twins, they brought that new math. I'm like, what the hell is this? I mean, I was pretty good at math, but they got all this new stuff out, and especially like you just said, now you see some of these junior high and some of the high school math, and you like, shoot. I see that.
See, that's another way for them to keep us in these predicaments of being wrongfully or falsely accused and imprisoned. Because if we don't know the law, if we don't know, they have more leeway against us.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out one thing that I just heard you guys say to show you how God don't miss a beat, right? And here it is, you tell Des that you 10 years older than he is. So if he's 48, you 58, here I am at 68.
That sounds like a trinity.
Yeah, I know, right?
So for the viewers, you know, y'all pay attention to them numbers. You know what I mean? We covering it all.
Well, I guess now that King D ain't here, I guess being as how that I am the youngest, I'm the baby of the crew now.
Yeah.
But I mean, is it a difference? Like, even if you think about or look at how, you know, things are going with this judicial system, so many black men and so many black women being falsely accused and imprisoned. At 40, I'm 48. 58 and 68.
Mhm.
What are the methods that they are using to do this in y'all eyes?
Yeah.
You know, it's we all have, I guess, friends and family that have been locked up, been in prison and jail. We all is, now I'm pretty sure all of us in the panel, we had a taste of no matter what it was locked up. And I know, I have came across people, I even came across friends that was thrown and they still in prison for a crime that they didn't commit. And one guy I know, he's still in there, and we the same age. He's been in there basically half his life for like I was speaking before. This guy was I'm not saying every black person that's in prison is innocent. We all know it's not true, but we do have a lot of black men and women that are in prison for the crimes they didn't commit. And me personally, I know for sure because I have been stopped occasionally in my younger days where cops just stop. I mean, driving while black. You driving and they gonna stop you because you're black. You up to no good anyway. And they, they're looking for stuff. They stopped me and took everything out of my car one time. They just took everything out because they said they had a reason to stop. They had all these black people pulled to the side and they were just taking stuff they call lethal drugs because somebody tipped them off saying, "Oh, some black people over here selling drugs." And they had us out there just standing there while they go through our cars and have dogs and them. They said, "Okay, we done. Pick that. Y'all can pick y'all stuff up," and just made a big mess and had us picking up our CDs and our papers because, like I said, they see you being black, they stop. And like I said, a lot of these times, it have been police officers that just put drugs on you. And next thing you know, you got some handcuffs on you going to jail, from jail to prison for something that you didn't do. And like I say, I have a friend right now. I haven't talked to him in years. I don't know if he's still alive or not. It's been over 20 years. He went to jail for having drugs, and I knew he didn't sell drugs, and I knew he was innocent. His family said they went to court and everything, and this guy is still in prison, as far as I know today, for supposed to be selling drugs. And that's why I say you gotta be so careful. I talk to my kids, my ex-step kids, my sons, and them would say, you already just being a black person have a bullseye on you. And they'll look for any way to throw you behind bars, like Dad said, to fill those beds. So it's just real. I mean, this is something we go through every day. And just like Mr. Britton said, now with the people that's up there in Washington, it's going to be worse. It's going to get worse. Mm-hmm. And I think they passed a law, like I said, I don't know what state it was, to give the police full immunity. This means these cops can shoot you, laugh about it, and get off.
Well, that's what that was one of the Tangerine Tyrant's executive orders to give all police officers immunity.
Yeah. So we definitely got to be more careful than ever because can you imagine you just minding your business and just because they see you say, yeah, I don't like him, let's get him. Next thing you know, either they're going to get you, they're going to either kill you or they're going to find some way to throw you in jail for the next 5 or 10 to 15, 20 years. So we live in some crazy times. We just have to be so careful. Like Mr. Britton said, we have to educate ourselves even more. And we just have to be careful. So I'm going to say this, Mr. Britton, what can we do to not only protect ourselves, but protect our loved ones? So what advice can we give them so we won't find ourselves? Because just when you walk out that door, you don't know what's going to happen. You can be accused of something. You just go into the store, and next thing you know, you come out to get in your car, you surrounded by police officers for a crime you didn't commit, and there you are sitting in jail. Next thing you know, you found some jury, and the judge sentenced you off for something that you didn't do.
Thing that what I see, White, is that this is, it's a good opportunity for, the mothers. Sometimes you're in households with single parents. Sometimes it's just the mother. Mm-hmm. You have the opportunity to let your male child bond with another male, get some education that way. We need to let our little warriors become warriors.
Right.
Flat out, mentally and physically. They need to arm themselves. Today, I'm saying, that every black and brown person even some red, need to arm themselves.
Right.
You know, and that's mentally. I'm not talking about with guns and all of that. We need to use our mental. So so if I got a child in front of me, which I often do, and I tell them, you know, the first thing you can do is listen to your parents, but pray.
Right.
Pray. You know what I'm saying? We don't even talk about much. Pray. You know, and that'll point you in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? You know, and start letting our little kings be little warriors. You know what I'm saying? Let them develop mentally and physically, so that we don't have to find ourselves in these positions. Oh, will they come with it anyway? Yes, but am I better prepared when I get myself together educationally, physically? You know what I'm saying? Spiritually, am I better equipped? Yeah, because we watch on TikTok all the time when they got a brother going off on the police, checking like, no, I'm not doing this and that, and they show you the successful outcome because they knew the law, because they boned up on the law. They didn't have to go to Harvard. They were able to, you know, they had the courage enough to recite it in their face. You know, how many times do you see a black man, you know, get shackled? When they get shackled, number one, the first thing that falls is their head.
Yeah.
Their head sinks to their chest, you know, and they belly chain. I guarantee you, if you look up a picture of slavery and when they had slaves, you'll see them saying shackle. Ain't no change with that.
Yeah.
You got to break the chains another way.
Yeah. Brother Des, what you got to say? You know, you deal with young people on a daily basis. Well, I mean, what can you say to them to make their life, try to make their life more safer and better? Because, you know, these are some hard times that we living in. As long as things keep happening now, I don't see where it's going to get any better. It might get worse. What can you say to any young people out there, young men or women, to maybe to protect themselves from getting in certain situations? They won't be accused of a crime that they didn't commit and have to end up spending time in prison for something they didn't do.
Well, I would say be mindful of what you do, who you do it with, and how you do it. It's a one word: watch.
Right.
Words, actions, thoughts, choices, and habits.
Yeah.
Those are that's one thing that you need to, that I would tell a young person today. And then also I would tell them, don't just believe what they tell you. Do your research. Do your research. Look into it. And like Mr. Britton said, listen to your parents. Listen to your parents, because what they telling you right now, you may not get because you ain't been through something. But just listen to them, because as you go through life, you're going to experience things, and you're going to have that moment to where you say, oh, that's what mama was talking about, or, oh, I see what daddy was saying.
Right.
Or, you know, even if it's an uncle or auntie, if somebody's sitting down and trying to tell you something, take it in, keep it there, because you may not need it right now because you ain't been through that. But somewhere down the line, you're going to go through something. And that little bitty piece of knowledge that they gave you could be that little bitty piece of knowledge that saves your life in that situation. Because, and just to give a personal example, I watch a lot of videos and stuff, and some stuff I take in, and some stuff I just let it go. Right. But at the same time, I have actually watched some of these videos before. And, even at 48, being an older man, just watching these videos and keeping that little bitty knowledge in my mind, I was able to recall it when I was in a situation that brought up that. Yeah. And it kept me out of a situation that I should not be in. A simple thing, when the next time a police officer pull you over, go ahead, turn on your dome light so they can see in the car. They ain't gonna have no reason to say, oh, well, I couldn't see what they was doing. Just simple stuff like that. Right. So, like Mr. Britton said, pay attention to your elders. If somebody's been here before, probably 6 or 7 times out of 10, they didn't already been through what you about to go through, but don't realize it yet because it ain't happened to you yet.
Yeah.
And always question what they tell you. Don't take it for face value. Do your research. Do your research. Find out for yourself. with today's technology, these kids got access to all kind of information. All they have to do is just look it up. I don't care if it is a teacher, even if your mom or your daddy say something, just go look it up and see if you can find something. But have that knowledge. Be a creative thinker. Be a creative problem solver. Don't just be a cookie cutter type of individual.
Right.
And request a supervisor to come in too.
Exactly.
Yeah, give me a supervisor right now.
Yeah,
So you
get
know
your
what?
supervisor.
This has been a great topic. I mean, to get so much to talk about and so much wisdom and knowledge from you guys, for those people out there watching, because we just don't know. And I agree, we definitely have to stay prayer up and educate yourself and just just watch out for one another, because we don't know. It can happen to anybody. I mean, just not those people we saw in the video. It can happen to me. It can happen to Mr. Britton. It can happen to you. It can happen to anybody. So we definitely have to be on our guard, be prayer up, be educated, and just watch each other back, and lift each other up. Now, before we clock, Spicy, did you want to say anything about this topic before we close out?
No, y'all did a great job. I mean, very educational, brought a lot of awareness. One thing is, we got to make sure that we pray over our loved ones before they exit over that threshold.
Yeah.
Keep them uplifted in prayer, because these times it's really getting bad. Just like my big mama used to say, she said, baby, it's going to get worse than what it is now. And she says, it's going to get so bad, I don't even want to be here no more.
Yeah.
And she left us in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be careful. It is a shame what things have come to. But what's even worse is when you have a generation that think they know more than the elders and don't want to listen or heed to the warning signs.
Mm-hmm.
They want to cry out when the destructions hit.
Yeah, you're right. So
one thing I wanted to say too, there's one thing that you can always do when encountering a police officer. They tell you, you have the right to remain silent.
Yeah, you do.
And don't trust them, because any conversation that you have with them, everything that you tell them, they can and will use it against you.
Yeah, they sure will.
So just remember that just because they come up as a friendly officer, don't mean that they friendly, because that friendly officer, all he's doing is he's taking notes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we were just conversating, having fun, and that's how they gonna wheel you in, make you feel comfortable.
Real.
Sometimes you just gotta.
That's one thing that I paid because I look at Crime 360 and Murder Chose Me show, because they teach you a little bit about the system. Because you look at, he said the one thing that why they bring them into the interrogation room. You're no longer on your domain. You're in their domain. So being in their domain, they make you feel intimidated. They make you feel uncomfortable. And they make you nervous to where you don't realize what you're saying and what you're doing, because they stumbling over. You're stumbling over your words. But what they're going to do, they're going to add this, they're going to twist this, they're going to take it out of context. So even being a young one, like the young man we seen, my heart broke when I saw that with him, because the fact that it's like a double whammy. One, you lost your child. Then two, you've been accused of your child being lost.
Yeah.
And being drugged through the courts. I've been through courts, on a different situation. But especially I felt personally, because I was the only Black woman in there. I felt personally that I was being discriminated against. Everything was going against me.
Wow.
Everything was at me. The bailiff didn't holler at him, but he looking dead at me, screaming. And I ain't done nothing. Like, you don't even know the situation. You don't know what I had to live with this guy. But you got to realize, like my grandmother used to say, you got one strike against you, and you got to remember that.
Yeah.
So, just like Dad says, realize for one, your surroundings, pay attention to every detail the cop does, because that's why they record. People are pulling out their cell phones. Not saying that you should pull out your cell phone for everything, because there's a thing called render aid as well. But every action of this police officer is being recorded. But at the same time, you got to know how to uphold yourself. Don't aggravate the situation. Know how to handle, because even though you could be speaking the truth can cost you your life when it comes up against this law, the way times are going now.
That's true. You say that.
Yep. And sometimes it ain't what you say, it's how you say it and the intent in which you say it
That part.
with.
Yes, there's that part. Hey, I agree with you 100% on that. You and Spice are so correct on that. You definitely got to be careful what you say. And sometimes, like you say, it's best not, I see a lot of young people get very combative with these officers. Just keep your cool. If you ain't did nothing or whatever, don't even argue with these guys. Just, try to prove yourself in court. That's all you can do. Because times are, like I said, it's going to get a little rough out there, y'all. But hey, be educated, be prayed up. We're going to make it. Believe
Yeah,
it or
because
not.
you got to remember, do not talk, keep silent. Make sure you got somebody in profession that can deal with these legal systems and these laws,
Right.
which is an attorney.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's sad that attorneys it's a lot of money, and then when they give you a public defender, that public defender they not really getting paid nothing but chump change. Sometimes
Yeah.
some of them not even get paid, so they really don't care. So they're gonna do
Nah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just sit there and
They
let you
just
get
gonna
married.
try to push you through the system.
That's
Yeah.
And then another piece of advice I would give to these young people or anybody, just remember, and came directly from a family member who is in law enforcement. Police officers are trained to be suspicious.
Yeah. I believe it, brother. I believe it. I believe 100%.
I do understand that there are some good because I mean I used to despise laws myself, and per my personal experiences. But I know there was one experience I had, and it had to do with domestic violence. And I lost my liking for them because of mere fact you sitting outside. This guy didn't beat me down, got bruises, patches of hair missing, swollen lip, ribs fractured, and you stood there laughing and smoking a cigarette, saying that we gonna make a bet on that she's gonna go back.
Wow.
From another day forward, I did not like it. When I met this one on another situation, I met this one, the Bear County sheriff. I won't say her name, but she could tell. She read me. She said, "I know you don't like us. I know that." And she said, "But I'm here to help you. I'm a mother too." And it took a lot for me to really feel secure, but I actually seen that she was trying to help. So there's some good ones, but you also got your bad apples as well.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But you know what they say, one bad apple spoils the bunch.
Yeah. Yeah. On that, yeah. Yeah, Dad, you're right.
Let me ask you this. For the men's. Now, say that somebody did accuse y'all of a crime, and this is for each one of y'all because y'all have your own mind and your own emotion about things. If someone did accuse you of anything, any kind of crime, as in rape, as in any kind of criminal act, and they come back after 14 years of you serving in prison, 30 years, 40 years, and they want to sit down and apologize to you, how would you take that?
I'll let Mr. Bring go first. I'm marinating on that.
Well, first of all, I would after 14 years, I would have time to figure out where it initiated from. I would have time to figure out where it initiated from. The individual, were they like the gentleman said, were they coerced into it? Would I be able to accept their apology? I can forgive, but I can't forget, because at the end of the day, you still had something to do with it. Yeah. And you could have killed it. You could have knocked it out the box in the beginning by not becoming a part of the lie that they were trying to tell on me. Especially if you knew in your heart of hearts that I did not do what you claim I did. You should. So would I accept your apology? I would accept your apology with a grain of salt.
How would you feel, Mr. Britton?
I think after that amount of time, and I've had this happen to me, I was receptive to the effort. Let me say this right. I respected their effort to apologize more than the apology itself. Because at the end of the day, you still caused some irreversible damage and harm. At the end of the day, I still was humiliated, disrespected, you know, and to me, that's all that was a recipe for murder. So you tried to kill me. Do I forgive you? I don't think that's the word I'm going to use. Am I going to allow myself to listen so I can have freedom? See, I think that's the piece. It's like I need that freedom. I need, if you're going to talk, I need to hear you say some things. And it's not guaranteed I'm going to say, oh, you forgiven, but then I get to forgive me for holding me hostage to that bull crap. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know, and that's how I feel about it. So I wouldn't be disinclined to listen, but you know, I mean, that's what it would be. And then I would have to process it so that I can be all right. You know what I mean? We're not going bowling, we're not going fishing, we're not doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? What I am going to do is to allow you to walk around here and you just let me walk around. You know?
Well said. Well said, Mr. Brent. You know, Spice, that question that you just asked, I mean, to think about it, this is 14 years or more of your life locked up for something that you didn't do. And these people actually knew that they was lying to put you in that situation, cage you up like an animal where you had to defend and fight yourself against other criminals that's locked up, don't knowing if you're going to even make it to that 14 years or whatever, because you could be shanked and killed. If you have children, you taking your, I mean, it's taking everything. It's taking 14 years of your life. And do you have to forgive? Could you forgive? Me being brought up in church, I would have to forgive them. But would I be very angry? Yeah, I'll be angry. And just because you say you're sorry to me don't mean jack, because especially if you knew that I didn't do it, but you just threw me in there anyway. Left me in there while you out with your family, breathing the fresh air, spending time with your children, eating, sleeping in your bed. I'm in there, sleeping in there, fighting for my life. And then after after a few years, now you want to come and say you sorry because you made a mistake. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be pissed at hell. I might even cuss them out. I would have to forgive them because that's what God wants us to do, forgive, but that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. A very hard pill to swallow, and it probably changed me. You know, I'm no longer the goofy, silly kind of person. I'll be just consumed with anger like a cancer that I would have to fight to get that out of my system. So, I mean, I can't sit here and blame none of these guys how the way they feel. You know, some of them sit there and say they forgive, but I know deep inside, that cancer, that hurt, that anger is still in them. And it's nothing can erase that. It's nothing you can do to erase the stuff you have done to this person's life and put them in that predicament for all those years. It's nothing. Sorry ain't enough to me. I mean, it can't, I mean, what more can it do? And half the time, they don't even want to pay you the time that you spend in there for nothing. Oh, well, the best payment you got is your freedom, but you don't want to pay these people for the years they spend time in jail. That's crazy. Yeah, I would have to forgive them, but it'll definitely, I'm going to be honest, it'll definitely change it, really. And it's going to take a lot of prayer from God and everything else to get you back, try to get you back, because that's something that you'll never forget, Spicy. For all those years you be locked up like an animal, you just can't forget that. That's not easy to be erased. That's my take. Yeah, I can forgive them, but it'll change me in so many different ways. So, yeah.
And you know, I have to agree with each one of y'all, because at the end of the day, we are human, you know, and I really feel bad that the guy lost 40 years out of his life. You know, me personally, you know, I'm big about forgiveness. It's not for that person, it's for myself, so that I can move forward and become stronger and wiser. But at the same time, you know, I do look at, you know, our Father has endured more than what we endured.
Yeah.
And he was able to forgive. He forgive our sins. So we have to look at it as well, even though we're still human. And we're going to have that anger. We're going to have those scars and wounds because we did miss out on a lot. But at the end of the day, what if he didn't forgive you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a hard pill to swallow. It'll
There
be
we go.
something that needs counseling on and worked on emotionally and mentally. But you also got to think, is the person asking for forgiveness for the mere fact to make themselves feel better? Or are they really sorry for what they did?
Yeah, and Spice, that right there, I think it's make them feel better because if they, that's how I look at it. Maybe because they conscious of getting to them, they can't sleep good at night knowing they put an innocent man in jail, in prison for all these years. They want to come out there and play, well, I'm sorry, because they can't sleep good at night.
That's exactly what I was about to say, because my whole thing is like with this, even with this today I was looking at something with the Tory Lanez trial, the bodyguard of the individual who actually did the crime finally came out and was like, I just couldn't do it no more. My conscience was eating me up. But it took for this man to be incarcerated, wrongfully incarcerated,
Yeah.
and almost lose his life
Wow.
in order for you to come out. Come on now. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you. No,
Okay,
dog.
now on this comment here, thank you for tuning in, KC Urban Country Style. On this here, he said the accuser needs to be held accountable.
And I agree. I agree.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. Let them
Because you got to think about it. If you have accused me of something that I have not done wrong, I've not done this wrong. I'm the one that's taking all the punishment for it.
Yeah.
Why are you walking off free? Should you not be punished once it has been revealed that you did not do the right thing? You broke the law too. You falsified, you purged yourself.
Yeah.
Isn't that a crime?
Yeah. They need to make it a crime. They definitely need to make it a crime.
It is a crime. If you purge yourself in court, they can hold you and put you in jail for purging yourself.
But you know, Brother Dez, that's just like I can't remember if it's on TikTok. I think of these two women, they're white women, they was twins. And they had the same situation with this dude. This dude spent all his life, just about all his life in prison. They did the same thing. Oh, we made a mistake. It wasn't him. But they didn't go to jail, though. He got out of jail. They gave him some shoes and clothes. And, well, at least you got your freedom. Are they going to pay this man for all those times he's been in jail? But those two women that accused him, they still walking around. They just said, well, we sorry. Oh, well, it wasn't him. We made a mistake. No, they knew that in the beginning. Their conscience was eating at them, and all of a sudden they just, well, if we die, I want to go to heaven, so we got to make things right. We need to go tell the truth that this man wasn't the one. A lot of guys go to jail for stuff like this, and it is wrong. And yes, they should make it to where when these people lie or can't make up their mind or accuse somebody, they should spend the same time behind bars as these people did, because it's not right.
That's exactly what I was about to say. That should be the new law. If you falsely accuse someone of a crime and it is later determined that you falsely accused them, whatever that individual has went through, you should have to go through.
I'll vote for that. A lot of this stuff stopping about these people accusing people of a crime they didn't commit. And even go for the police officers too that put these guys in jail that didn't break the law. They should use their pension and they should be behind bars just as long as they've been behind bars if they found that they put an innocent man behind bars or a woman. I'm
with you on that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because that's what I was saying. And that's basically what I was saying too. Even with the law enforcement, if you as a police officer, be you black, white, Hispanic, yellow, green, Asian, Puerto Rican, whatever you are, if you have taken an oath to uphold this Constitution that y'all hold so great, when you violate that Constitution, you should be held accountable the exact same way as if you was Joe Smo.
Oh yes, I agree. Because it you know what? It'll make it a lot better. I mean, it can't take away the time you've been in jail, but other than that, you can say, well, at least I can see these people that stuck me behind bars for all these years, see them get their just reward. Let them stay the same time I stayed there. I mean, hey, I'm good with that. So yeah, they need to start making a law like that. This has been what you have something else to say, Dez? For the Dez.
Man, look, happy Friday, y'all.
Yeah.
Shoot.
I'm
But
just
I
saying.
mean, because I was about to play, but see, okay, I know it's getting time. It's almost time for us to end this thing because boy, this one now it's about to start getting heated.
Yeah.
It's
I'm just saying. I mean, it just pisses me off that that you have innocent men that went behind jail for crap they didn't do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because that could be me. I can be behind bars for something I didn't do, and spending behind all that time just sitting there knowing I ain't do a crime, and I've been there for over 12, 15, 20 years sitting there. It's crazy. I mean, it's just
but
crazy.
see, and a part of that is, I mean, like the longer they keep you in there, it's like they trying to break you. Which
Yeah,
goes back to what Mr. B was saying. It's another form of Willie Lynchism.
yeah.
We gonna break you one way or another.
By the time a year passed, I've been broken already. I've been just lost it because it's like you say, it's mental. For you have to be mentally strong to handle all of that. Just being there, in the cell, your freedom is taken away from you for something that you did. I mean, can you imagine something that you didn't do? I can see if I did it. Yeah, okay, I did it. I need to have my ass behind bars. But knowing that I did not do anything to have me locked up like an animal, yeah, it's gonna drive me crazy. I'm gonna become an animal because it's gonna drive me crazy. Because I just can't assume it just sit there and just take that of me being behind bars for something I didn't do. It's not gonna. It's just gonna drive me insane. It will. It'll just drive me insane, man. I'm just telling. I would have to ask God to give me the strength because I'll probably end up losing it. That's just crazy. And there's a lot of people that's in that situation now. They behind bars for something they didn't do. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. But this right here has been a great topic. I'm so glad that we talked about this. So I just want to say, y'all, this has been a great show. People, we want to thank y'all for letting us in your home to talk about this situation. Just like Brother Dez and Mr. Britton said, y'all just educate yourself, be prayed up, talk to your children on how to talk to law enforcement when they get pulled over, and y'all just have to be careful. We are in some crazy times right now. I call them Twilight Zone time. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. So please be careful. We're not saying that every cop, every judge is bad. Like Dez said, that one that can spoil the whole bunch. So just be careful. We just want to say we love y'all. Y'all, we thank y'all for watching us and join us back here next week for Grown Men Talking. We'll be talking about a different subject. And if y'all have something that y'all want us to talk or discuss, be free to get in contact with us. Get in contact with me or Spicy. Give us a call and we'll do it. Until then, we'll see you. Y'all be safe and God bless. We out.